How do I screen record? Hello users of the internet and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're one of my current 1.12 thousand subscribers, then welcome back. And if you're not, follow your instincts. As some long-time subscribers may be able to tell from my very poorly framed backdrop, I am back in my room in Australia. I have been living in New York for the past 9 months, and now for about 2 weeks I have been back in the good old Southern Hemisphere, experiencing perpetual winter over summer break. But anyway, considering I kind of have a foot in both camps at the moment, I do live most of the year in New York, but obviously was born and raised in Australia. I thought it would be interesting to analyze some notorious fake Australian accents put on by either American or British actors in movies and judge them and rank them in a tier list. To be honest, I don't know what else to say in this introduction. I'm a bit rusty, I forgot how to do this. My hair looks shocking and I'm wearing a pajama top, so let's get into it. So my tiers ranking from best to worst are honorary citizen, meaning the actor's accent is so good we may as well give them a green card. Come on in, no customs check for you. The second one is close but no Oscar, as in close but no cigar, so super close. Maybe dabbles a bit in the New Zealand or the South African, but a commendable effort, and I see what you're putting down and I'm picking it up. The third rundown is maybe from New Zealand. Whenever people from other countries, particularly America, try and put on the Australian accent, they do tend to delve into New Zealand territory. So if it's predominantly Australian, solid effort, but then has some insanely quirked up vowel sounds, maybe from New Zealand. The next rundown is has maybe met an Australian once. A couple of the vowels sound vaguely flat. Maybe they've got a no or two in there, but that's about it. They definitely have not got on a 23-hour flight and come to visit our weird island continent. The next is Bad Steve-O and parody. Also can be called Bad Crocodile Dundee parody. Intensely bogan, intensely Australian, but also really poorly done and sounds more like overblown Cockney. The second to last category is not even close, but close to my heart. This is a special one for attempts at an accent that may be horrendous, may not sound remotely close to anything kind of similar to Australian, but it's funny. And I appreciate that. And perhaps the intention in the first place wasn't even to be good. It's to be a bit of a meme. And at that, you've succeeded. And then the final category, you've just made a new country. You're borrowing different accent sounds from many different places, most of which probably don't exist, and have actually just produced an amalgamation of sounds and come up with your own nation. So honestly, props for creativity. But now with all that out of the way, let's jump in. Okay, first up, let's take a look at Andrew Lincoln, who you may know from Love Actually. I don't need to announce who these actors are. I'm gonna take a look at Andrew Lincoln from Penguin Bloom. I have seen this movie, so I'm not just judging it from the clip, which is good because I could find about 2 clips online of this film. Let's go, Andrew. Okay, a minute in, he hasn't spoken so far. I feel like that's not a good sign in the trailer.
She needs a name.
Penguin.
Yeah, okay, I mean, from that single line, that sounded good.
The boys and I were struggling.
Oh, you're struggling.
Yes, it's all of us.
I think for the most part, that's actually pretty good. He's definitely not exaggerating it. He's kind of being low-key and lazy, which are definitely 2 defining attributes of our non-accent. There's just like something a little English around the eyes. Some of the vowels go a bit into the mother country.
The boys and I were struggling.
Yeah, like around the eye. It's like kind of like nasally bogan, like the boys and I.
Yes, it's all of us.
Yes, it's all of us. But like honestly, solid effort. And I remember thinking that throughout the movie as well. Definitely there were moments where he swung into English. I mean, to be fair, he is working opposite Naomi Watts, who was born in Australia but spent a significant amount of her time growing up in England. So if that's the Australian accent he had to work off, then I get it. So I think I'm gonna put Andrew in close but no Oscar. I'm actually just gonna say close but no Oscar from now on, because we get the joke. I'm annoying myself. Next up, let's take a look at Elizabeth Moss, Top of the Lake. I have not seen Top of the Lake, but the only thing I have heard about it is that apparently she's phenomenal. Never has any actor or actress attempted the Australian accent and conquered it more than Elizabeth Moss. It's been incredibly hyped up, and I have literally never seen a single scene from it. So let's take a listen.
We're on our own now, Tui. You don't have to say anything, okay? Nothing.
It's a little posh, but some people are posh, I guess, theoretically. That happens. She's also very softly spoken and quiet, which, if you are tackling a tough accent, not a bad way to go about it. Mumble so no one can actually hear what you're saying or how you're saying it. Pro tip.
I'm going to sit down.
I think you're sitting down in South Africa, babes. I don't know what that was.
I've got some chocolates. You want one? You know you're not in any trouble.
And now we're in provincial London. Whoa, we're really going around the globe here. She's well traveled.
You're a kid, and I'm just trying to help.
It's not horrible. It's not the worst. Some micro sentences, pretty just like Australian with a good upbringing. Went to a private school, probably on the North Shore. But then at other times, vowels get insanely weird, sounds like we're in South Africa. And then at other times I'm like, you've gone from the North Shore to Notting Hill. We've taken a long haul flight. But the fact that she is speaking so quietly and slowly means that I can't really hear it. And that was a really strong move. I also read up that apparently her character was supposed to be born in New Zealand, but grew up in Sydney. But I'm not even getting any New Zealand at all. I'm getting was born and raised in London and maybe has lived in Australia for a year. Even though she is globetrotting a lot, I don't think it is bad enough to be you've made up a country, because most of it is kind of Australian English, maybe. And look, the English did colonize us. I'm gonna put her in has met an Australian once. She definitely knows, I think, what the Australian accent is supposed to sound like in theory, but not tried hard enough to make it consistent and instead just gone for English. But honestly, I don't get the hype. Let's do Robert Downey Jr. in Natural Born Killers. Have I seen this movie? Absolutely not. I've heard of it. I think it's a comedy. I don't know, let's take a listen.
Anyway, Julie, my producer, and I, we've been waiting for a long time to do a follow-up episode on you, and that time has definitely come.
Right off the bat, he's clearly going for stereotype. A lot of the vowel sounds are very New Zealandy. I don't know the vibe of the movie, maybe like the whole thing's very over the top, but he definitely is. Anyway, was very New Zealand.
I feel it's apparent to anyone who's hip to what's going on that this prison boy's thrown the Constitution straight out the fucking window.
Some of it's not bad. Some of it's just like really big, broad, bogan stereotype, and there are people who sound like that in the middle.
You and Mallory may be killers, but nuts, insane. Today they won't clean your mind because they feel your actions are dangerous. Tomorrow they won't clean my mind. I'll dump in the fucking syndication because they feel what I say is dangerous. Where does it all end?
What is this movie? That's the biggest question I have. This performance in general, not good. But in terms of the accent, he'll actually get out like a couple of words that don't sound too bad.
Out the fucking window.
But he's just delivering them so poorly that I'm distracted. I think this one's pretty obvious. It's a bad Steve Irwin parody. It's big, it's broad, it makes me want to die. But if that was what the director intended, then kudos, RDJ. Next up, let's take a look at Sophia Ali in Uncharted.
I could tell it was really old, so I washed it.
I love a little bit of Essex love, but it's not where I'm from, is it? It's not.
What'd you do with it?
I did what I thought was right. I took it to
I did what I thought was right. I took it to my... Like, she literally accent switched in the middle of that sentence. I know it's hard when there's an Englishman putting on your accent next to you, but you gotta stay in it, babes. Come on.
help me get a reward or
Reward was good.
a reward or...
Reward, I know where she's from. That's the only word so far where I'm like, Australia? Did I watch the whole movie? Yeah. Did I think throughout the entire thing, this is the most inconsistent thing I've ever heard, I have no idea where she's from? Absolutely. I also find it really funny because Sophia Ali is in The Wilds on Amazon Prime, which is shot in Australia and features a predominantly Australian cast putting on American accents, and she's one of the only people in that show who's actually American, now playing an Australian. Actually saying that she's playing an Australian is probably a little generous. Look, I think she's gonna be the first one to go in the sin bin. I mean, you've just made a new country. Let's do Benedict Cumberbatch in The Fifth Estate, which, if you don't know what that is, you're not alone. You may have seen an article several years ago saying that Benedict Cumberbatch was going to be playing Julian Assange, and seeing maybe like a weird screen cap of him with bleach blonde Charlie Horn hair. That is from this movie that no one ever watched. And I am one of those people. Good luck, BC, let's go.
14 pages in The Guardian, 12 in the New York Times. This is more coverage than all the leaks we have had combined.
Okay, we started off a little English, but he actually like picked it up. He's kind of going strong.
We're winning an information war.
Information was really good. Even like the inflection's really good.
Information war.
An information war.
Because you fear that some US government informer might come to harm?
Okay, the might come to harm is giving me a little bit of South Africa, a little bit of spice, but again, like this is actually really good.
This is information the world needs to know.
World and know were really good. The world needs to know. He's doing a good job of not exaggerating it, but making the vowel sounds really prominent. Why is this better than your American accent in the first Doctor Strange? I don't understand. You've surprised me.
So the next time you find yourself lecturing me about this organization, please try to remember why I hired you to help me.
Yeah, like the L on help was a little quirked out, but like overall that was super good. I don't think I can put him in honorary citizen because if I heard a person speak like that in real life, I'd be like, you've definitely traveled around. But I'm gonna put him in close but no Oscar. Because whoa, that kind of went crazy. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do Meryl Streep in Evil Angels, which was definitely called something else in America, and I don't know what it is. Annabelle in editing, flash it up on the screen, I don't know, but let's face it, no one watched the movie. Meryl Streep played Linda Chamberlain and did the whole like dingo ate my baby moment. This is notoriously a horrendous accent. Everyone's like, Meryl can do anything except an Australian accent. So I'm super excited to hear it. I've never heard her utter a word, so I'm about to lose my mind.
When you saw the dingo shaking its head, it was halfway through the fly screen.
For starters, that guy sounds English, but that is the weird voice that Australians used to put on when being filmed in the 70s, so.
On the move, through the fly screen.
Through the fly.
Do you know there was no blood found on the fly screen, do you?
I presume there hasn't been.
I presume there hasn't been. Okay, so it's like pretty New Zealand-y. Well, closer to New Zealand than it is to Australian.
As I said, again and again yesterday.
Again and again. Again and again, maybe? I don't know. Maybe? I don't know.
It was emerging through the fly screen.
Shaking its head vigorously?
I couldn't tell you now whether it was shaking its head as it was going through, while it was through, or before it was through. Its obvious movement was shaking the fly screen at some stage. That is my opinion.
Okay, look, it's funny. It's very funny. It's not good, but I also know that Lindy Chamberlain has a hybrid Australian-New Zealand accent, which is hard to do. Though this is insanely exaggerated, but honestly not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, because this has been hyped up as the worst attempt anyone has ever done on screen. And I've heard worse. I've definitely heard worse. It's way more New Zealand than I thought it was gonna be. I thought she was gonna have created a new country. And side note, if Meryl Streep did create her own country, I would pledge to be a citizen. But this is just kind of like mildly terrible. To be honest, she doesn't sound dissimilar to Pauline Hanson.
I'm quite happy to remove this.
I'm shocking myself. I'm gonna put her closer to the top than to the bottom. I'm actually gonna put her in maybe from New Zealand. Also, that movie looks crazy. The fact that the full film is just on YouTube for free, good sign. Let's do Kirby Howell Baptiste, The Good Place. Have I seen this season of The Good Place? Yes, I have. Do I remember her Australian accent? Unfortunately, yes.
What's the one thing Eleanor and I have in common?
You both have a complete disregard for my office hours. Sorry, Reginald.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, you both have a complete, not bad, pretty good start. You both have a complete disregard for my office. What? What's an office? I don't know. New Zealand doesn't know. I don't even think South Africa knows. What is an office?
Oh, of course.
Oh, of course. That was Virgin in New York, of course. See, that wasn't Virgin in New York. I know where I'm from.
It's a joint study with the neuroscience department. We can use MRI mapping to see if a near-death experience alters brain function.
We're getting into a bit of pinch New Zealand territory, but also we're not in any territory because, yeah, you guessed it, she's just made up a new country. So I'm pretty sure the whole conceit of this season is that they get to go to Earth and then end up in Australia? I can't remember, I definitely watched it, but I thought that her accent was so bad that it was gonna be a major plot twist that she wasn't actually Australian and she was faking it and she turned out to be Satan or something. But that never came, and we were just supposed to believe that that is how Australians sound. Moving on. Let's go Kate Winslet from The Dressmaker.
Very good, Sergeant Ferret. My design, but Dior inspired.
Myrtle Dunnage.
Tilly. What have I done this time?
Fine leather.
How's my mother?
Molly doesn't get out much these days.
They'll know soon enough.
Okay, look, I was pretty silent throughout that because I have no notes. And I have seen this entire movie and her accent is literally spot on for the entire thing, which is crazy. Unheard of, unprecedented. She doesn't overdo it, which I feel like is the #1 trap you can fall into. Whoever the dialect coach was on that film, absolute kudos, you've made miracles happen. So, Kate Winslet Dressmaker, I think we know where she has to go. She's an honorary citizen. Next up, let's do Jude Law in Contagion.
There are therapies we know are effective right now, like forsythia, and they don't even appear on the CDC website.
Okay, 1, why are you yelling? 2, why are you speaking? The art, not bad.
Are effective.
Everything else, not good. He's just speaking really loudly, but not with an Australian accent. He's not speaking really loud. Like, I'm stressed. I'm on edge, and I'd like to get off. Jude.
Pharmaceutical company? Because they are.
Okay, because they are. Not bad. That's fine. Okay. All right.
Oh, no way, Dr. Cheever.
Oh, no way, Dr. Cheever. Or full British. Full British. I know you're from England. Let it show less.
Or the people who put him into power can profit from it. We're not
Profit.
People who are dying, and we
They're not keeping us safe from this any more than they kept us safe
about the
Wall Street or Katrina.
Okay, well, this is a lot to digest. To be honest, if I just heard his accent in isolation and didn't know he was trying to be Australian, I wouldn't know. I'd be like, oh, that's Jude Law in his natural accent. So I think we have to put him in You've Made Up a Country, some kind of weird AU version of Australia where we sound almost identical to British people. The next thing I have isn't a specific actor, but more just every single accent featured in the Bart vs. Australia episode of The Simpsons.
$900 dues. Tobias! Did you accept a 6-hour collect call from the States?
It was an emergency call.
It was an emergency.
From the International Drainage Commission in Springfield.
Oh my God! Right, I'm calling all the way from Squatters Crag, Australia.
Okay. Obviously not remotely close, but I think that's kind of the point. I definitely remember this episode of The Simpsons, and it is actually quite well loved in Australia because I feel like it's making fun of the stereotypes that Americans have about Australians. So really it's making fun of Americans and not us, which is something Australians and the rest of the world love to do. I find it really funny, and I think the fact that the accents are not remotely accurate is part of the joke. So I'm gonna pop this little meme into not even close, but close to my heart. Americans can laugh at it because they go, ooh, silly Australians, and Australians can laugh at it because they can go, ooh, silly Americans. Everyone gets to make fun of everyone, and no one is safe. Next up, let's do Michael Caine in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Have I seen this movie? Absolutely. I love this movie so much. And if you have not seen this movie, do not watch The Hustle, or whatever the hell that film is called with Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. It was supposed to be like a feminist remake. I thought they were gonna change something remotely. They didn't. They kept the plot exactly the same, but just made it terrible. They took a fantastic movie and made it horrendous. So please do not watch that and spoil the plot twist of one of the 80s great films. Soapbox moment over. I'm sorry, let's watch the clip.
So, Nikos Papadopoulos, I'd like you to meet the favorite son of Australia, Chips O'Toole. Aren't you gonna say anything?
G'day, Nikos. How's it going, sport?
Oh my God.
Good on you, cobber. Anyway, coming up to the house, we put a couple of shrimps on the barbie for you.
Okay, honestly, it's not as bad as it could be. This is the final scene of the movie, and it's very clear that he's putting on an Australian accent. That's the joke. It could be completely horrendous. It doesn't have to be good for this scene to work. However, it's not bad. Does he sound remotely like an Australian from this day and age? Absolutely not, but he kind of sounds like a 70s newscaster.
G'day, Nikos.
But that definitely does veer into Cockney territory.
Put a couple of shrimps on the barbie for you.
When he says shrimp on the barbie, or when anyone says shrimp on the barbie, I do want to drown myself. But again, that's the joke. He's supposed to be a complete stereotype and gaslight some tourists. I was going to put him in Bad Steve Irwin parody, but I actually think I'm gonna put him in Not Even Close, but Close to My Heart. Oh God, it's such a good movie. Such a good movie. Next up, I'm going to look at Lea Seydoux in Mental. I never watched this movie. I'm pretty sure I sent it a self-tape for it in 2011. Spoiler alert, I didn't get the part, but let's take a listen, Liev.
Just not right for you. I've been hunting sharks 40 years. Seen its type before. All instinct, no feeling. He craves, devours, moves on.
He said fear.
No feeling.
So like went a bit American, but the rest of it is kind of bogan good.
Life is sharks. 100 million years ago, when the dinosaurs lay dying, last thing they saw was sharks.
Okay, yeah, like it's definitely exaggerated the dinosaurs and whatever, but I'm guessing that he's supposed to be an incredibly bogan character. So, in all honesty, this is pretty good. I'm shocked.
Quitting my job because I think you're mental.
Mental is a shark.
Mental is a shark. No, it definitely does occasionally veer into Bad Steve Irwin parody, but I'm actually so impressed. I think that this is the best an American will ever get at doing an Australian accent. Is he an honorary citizen? Definitely not. But I'm gonna put him in Close But No Oscar. To think I could have been your co-star at age 12. What could have been? Now that's mental. I'll stop. I almost vomited then. That was gross. Okay, next up, let's do... Oh God, okay, let's do John Lithgow in Pitch Perfect 3.
I don't want to hurt anyone, Patricia. The only one I wanted was you, but you weren't with them.
Plan B?
Oh my God, no, it's so bad. It's terrible. I remember sitting through this whole movie and being like, John, what do you call that?
Which two of you are Ashley and Jessica?
I don't think those sounds are even taken from other accents. I think he's made up new sounds. He's defied the phonetic alphabet. So again, kind of a low-key flex, but definitely John Lithgow, you've made up a new country. Let's do Dev Patel in Lion, okay?
What do you mean, reality? Do you have any idea what it's like knowing my real brother and mother spent every day of their lives looking for me?
That's insane. That's so good. If I didn't know that Dev Patel was English, if I hadn't seen Skins, I'd swear he grew up a suburb away from me.
25 years, Luce. 25! We swan about in our privileged lives. It makes me sick. I have to find home.
He is doing that, like, I'm speaking quietly and kind of mumbling thing that I can't fully hear all of his vowel sounds, but that is a good hack. And also, honestly, how Australians speak. We have a mumbling problem. We're lazy in nature and lazy in voice. And he is acting opposite an American, so he doesn't even have another Australian accent to go off. Absolutely insane. Come join Kate as an honorary citizen. You've made it. Cross borders. Bring anything you want into the country, except your dog. Aww. Okay, next up, let's do Kate McKinnon from Rough Night.
Okay, can I have 2 pies?
Okay, wait, I don't even think this scene is in the movie. I think it's an outtake. But whatever, I've seen the whole film. I can still rejudge the accent from this clip.
1 plain cheese, and for the other one, do you fiddlehead ferns?
What? What does that mean?
Do you have Swiss chard? I guess just then 1 cheese and 1 with cardoons.
Honestly, this is another language. I have no idea what she's saying right now, but also insanely funny. Normally, bad fake Australian accents in movies really annoy me because it kind of seems like they're coming from a place of superiority, like an American being like, haha, listen to how stupid those silly little Australians sound. But I just find Kate McKinnon so funny, and I don't think it's coming from that place at all. Her character honestly makes this movie. And again, like, some of the vowels are way more accurate than they ought to be.
You don't have a calzone, that's mahi mahi.
She does sound like she's 1/3 from New Zealand.
You're kidding. You're sort of kidding me, right?
1/3 from Australia.
Is this a practical joke?
And 1/3 from a country that doesn't exist.
No cardoons.
But that is an iconic hole. This is the reason why I made the category not even close, but close to my heart. Kate McKinnon's bad Australian accent is one of the only ones that I will ever accept. Okay, second to last, we've got Kate Winslet again. She's coming back, but this time in a 90s Jane Campion movie called Holy Smoke that I definitely have not seen.
I think it'd be good for me.
Okay, even from that one line, I can already hear that it's a bit worse than her accent in The Dressmaker, i.e. not 100% perfect, but still really good. It's just like a touch of New Zealand in that one.
I'll get changed.
Perfect, great.
Don't worry, it wasn't anything.
Yeah, okay, that's really interesting to be able to see the progression. She definitely in the 90s sounded more New Zealand, but still it's really good. I would say that that's an insanely close Australian accent, but she took that accent and then perfected it years later. So, okay, queen of self-improvement. We love to see it. So for that, I am gonna put her in close but no Oscar, but this has made me respect her as an actress even more. Okay, queen, pull through. And then last but not least, we have Nicole Kidman in by far my favorite work of hers, the AMC commercial. Let's watch.
We come to this place for magic.
Yeah, we do.
We come to AMC theaters to laugh, to cry, to care. Because we need that. All of us.
All of us. Why does some of her vowels sound more American than she does in Big Little Lies? That's what I want to know.
And we go somewhere we've never been before.
We definitely do go somewhere we've never been before. A made-up country where everyone sounds like whatever Nicole Kidman does. Obviously, I've included this to be a meme. I am sickly obsessed with the AMC ad. If you're not American, before you go and see any movie, the chain of AMC cinemas in America, it's just Nicole Kidman sitting in front of a screen acting like she's never seen any movie before and watching it completely immersed alone. And the first time I saw it, I was just so confused because I was like, why can she not keep up a consistent accent in anything I've ever seen her in? 9 Perfect Strangers, what do you call that? Big Little Lies, the biggest lie is the fact that you're playing an American. But I love it, and no shade on Nicole, I find it funny. And she actually does do a pretty good Australian accent in Raw, so I guess she can pull it out of the bag when she has to. But for now, for this performance, I'm gonna have to put her in. You've just made a new country. I don't know why I made this meme of a video. I'm clearly incredibly bored after being home for a fortnight, but that's all I have for you. If you enjoyed it, then please thumbs up and subscribe. And if you didn't and thought that I was racist to both Americans and Australians, then just do it anyway, because at least we love being an equal opportunities racist. And I'll see you next time when it's maybe consistently daylight. Thank you so much for watching. Bye! Oh, 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 yeah.